Hey guys, the game for today is going to be Flash versus Soulkey. It's going to be on Fighting Spirit, so a very standard TVZ, but we're going to be able to see exactly how these two match up because there were a lot of questions after the last ASL about whether or not Soulkey was the best Zerg player, whether or not he could actually beat Flash in a straight-up series. So that's something that we're really starting to look forward to in the ASL 4. That's something that we really want to find out. Is Soulkey the best Zerg player out there? Can he beat Flash in a macro game? And so hopefully this game will answer some of those questions. But over here on the top right in the teal is, I guess it doesn't matter because they're both in teal. But Flash could be spawning in the top right, Soulkey up in the, the top left, Soulkey up in the top right. So we are going to have a slight advantage in the spawning positions for Flash. He's going to be able to expand towards his opponent, towards that natural, make it a little bit easier for him to put on the early game pressure. But as long as Soulkey defends, he should be fine. And he can always take that third base far away, which is a little bit of a sigh of relief for him, because TVZ is all about trying to get that third base up. If Zerg can't get their third base up, it becomes much more difficult for them to tech into Hive, get enough gas for defilers, and eventually get up their fourth base so that they can get those ultralists. So there's a lot to getting that third base, and when you spawn close map like this on a 4-player map, it actually does work a little bit in your favor as a Zerg player because you get that cross map third, which makes it just a little bit easier to defend. You get an extra 5 to 10 seconds of travel time, which can greatly change the outcome of the game depending on how things go. So Soulkey is going to be scouting towards Flash's base with his drone. He's going to be able to find out where his opponent is immediately. Flash, in the meantime, did scout in the wrong direction, but I think as soon as he sees this drone, he's going to figure out, based on the scout timing, that he needs to go ahead and send that SCV cross map over there to the top right. This one drone just going to be a little bit annoying. Going to come in here, scout, see if there's any gas. Something that Flash has been doing a little bit more recently, trying to go for gas plays, go for 1-1-1s in TVZ. So it can potentially throw some Zerg players off, but overall, just going for that standard macro play is Flash's bread and butter, so he's probably just going to be heading back into that. Meanwhile, we do have the triple hatch opening for Soulkey. He's going to have those 3 hatches plus that gas up. He's going to have a pretty thriving economy. And nice job getting a couple shots off on this SCV early on. This really does make it so much easier later on when you're trying to clear out this SCV with Lings. Having this this drone just do a little bit of chip damage to it makes it a lot easier to kill it off a little bit later on in the game. So it looks like Flash has decided potentially maybe to go for a 2 racks opening. I'll have to check that in just a second. I think that's the second racks, but I could be wrong. It could just be a supply depot. Oh, never mind. It is a supply depot. So actually, it is going to be the 2 racks opening. This small marine poke is going to come in and do a little bit of damage. Noticing that Soulkey was a little greedy on his Zergling count early on, but now that the Zerglings are out, he's going to have to run a little far back. Soulkey does do a very good job of picking off that SCV, so he's going to have pressure back out on the map. He's got 6 Lings out, so he can go ahead and actually kill this small group of Marines out on the map if they're not totally careful. They can't really go Overlord hunting at this point in time. So this is very nicely done by Soulkey. It's going to take him a while before he actually gets an Overlord in position to actually scout the natural here and make sure that he has all the information he needs, but for right now, he's in good shape. Flash instead going for that 2 racks timing instead of the +1 5 racks that he's very well known for. That's going to allow him to hit a very early timing hit right before the Mutalists or the Lurkers come out after a lair. But Flash is playing very greedy here by not having a bunker, not even having a supply depot over that ramp to help his Marines micro. So he's definitely relying on his micro in order to save him, and so far it's been pretty good. Even though these Lings got a pretty nice angle, the micro from Flash was decent. However, he did still lose a lot of units, and now that speed is done, this is going to allow effort to, sorry, this is going to allow Soulkey to get plenty of scouting information in his opponent's base, find out exactly what's going on, and it really wasn't good for Flash at all, sacrificing all of those units early on. Just being a little bit too greedy with his play, and uncharacteristic mistake from Flash, and he's going to end up paying for it. His attack is going to be very far delayed. It's not going to do as much damage, and at this point in time, Soulkey has complete map control. You can see he is going to go ahead and actually continue attacking with this group of Lings, maybe even just setting up a very fast third base behind this as well. To some degree, this isn't horrible for Soulkey because he still managed to, oh my gosh, he's going to come in here. He does pick off the fire bat. Is he going to be able to pick off the rest of these Marines? He's got very good surface area on this, but the SCVs on the ramp should be able to do pretty decently. However, these Lings have done quite a lot of damage to Flash's army. The army still hasn't been able to actually move out of the base, and by delaying the mining over here at this base, this is going to cause all kinds of problems for Flash. Soulkey continuing to send lots and lots of Lings. This seems to be the way that Soulkey likes to play now. Just a constant Ling aggression in the early mid game to buy time for his tech to get up. And so far, the Ling micro has been pretty insane. Done a really good job of picking things off, but Flash's micro too good. However, too many Lings all over the map gonna cause lots of pressure points for Flash. Gonna cause him to have to focus in a lot of places at once, and it's very difficult right now for him to actually keep up with this. He's done a decent job so far. He's actually floating a ton of money though. He's gonna end up just having to throw down a ton of stuff and queue up a bunch of SCVs as well. So not what you want to do as the Terran player. This has definitely started to get to him as he's been too focused on trying to micro through this and deal with this pressure coming out from Soulkey. Meanwhile, Soulkey does have his Mulus tech on the way. He's going to be in a very decent position to move forward. Finally, the bunker comes down for Flash, but it's a little bit too late. He's ended up losing quite a bit in the process, and another Ling does somehow manage to get into the main, so more scouting information going to be going down. That's really annoying. He's got to send at least one Marine to go clean that up. And meanwhile, the Mules are here for Soulkey. They're going to be coming into the main right now. Maybe they can snipe off one or two of these missile turrets before things even get started. The mass repair is quick for Flash, but not fast enough to stop the Mules from getting a free turret anyway. The Mulus micro from Soulkey looking really beautiful, looking really slick. Going to be able to pick off a handful of units very easily. Looks like he's going to be coming back in here for the next missile turret, but might be a bit of an overcommitment going all the way into this main base. This could be dangerous, but he still does have just so many Mulus compared to what Flash has. This actually almost looks like it could just be a straight up win for Soulkey. Soulkey's done so much damage to Flash, been able to whittle away those Marine numbers for an extended period of time, and behind us his third base is going down. He's even going to be able to continue harassing over here on this ridge to kill off more and more of these SCVs. Going to swing up here into the north side and pick off a few more SCV before heading out. So this has been beautiful harassment by Soulkey. You can see he's definitely drilling really hard into the Mutaling. He can use a couple Mutas to draw all the units into the main and then attack the front like this with the Lings. This is beautiful play coming out from Soulkey. Just being very tactical with these Mutalis, getting a lot of damage done. As soon as the units run down there, run back up into the main with the Mutalis. Nicely done. He's going to try to come back down here into the natural, but there's a lot of units over here. He's got to be careful with this Mutalis micro. Make sure he's not taking too much damage. The Lings are doing a pretty good job of picking off a free missile turret, so that's nice. And the Mutalis doing a ton of damage to this Bioball. Flash is going to be able to hold on for now. Once that turret count gets up to a high enough count, he's going to be in an alright position to defend. But at this point, he's even in supply with the Zerg player, which is really not where you want to be. Soulkey is taking this game in stride right now. But Flash is surviving. We'll see how well he's able to actually come back into the game. I believe I just saw double upgrades coming in for Soulkey. So Soulkey very confident. Usually you just go for the double grade upgrades after Hive, or sometimes you'll get it. I take that back. Actually, that looks like it was a Queen's Nest Hydralisk Den. So Linker's coming up quite late, but not at all surprising to see with the Mutalis count being this high. I'm just going to try to get some pressure out on the map, but I don't know how much he can actually do with these Mutalis still pressuring the front like this, still pressuring the natural. Flash is just going to make a beeline straight for Soulkey's natural, knowing that there's only one sunken there to defend. Soulkey's going to have to pull back these Mutilis, or else he can definitely die to this. He's got a whole bunch of overlords just floating through the middle of the map, which might be a bit of a problem, but ironically, they're actually kind of saving him right now because they're pulling some units away from his natural. If Flash had gunned straight from the natural, he might have actually just killed Soulkey outright. Instead, stopping for those overlords, bought a little bit more time for that sunken, bought a little bit more time for production for Soulkey. He's going to be able to get back over here and start whittling away these units. He's still got quite a decent number of Mutilis, so he's going to be able to push this back for now. And Soulkey is in a fine position to go into the mid-game. He's got that third base up, he's got a decent Mutilis count, and now he's about to start getting his lurkers and his hive tech up as well. Flash is transitioning into SK Terran, but he definitely hasn't done the economic damage that he would have liked to do. His third base is already up and running. There's plenty of drones for Soulkey in his main and his natural as well, so he's in a fantastic spot overall. This game has been a lot of back and forth, but Soulkey definitely in the lead right now. Good job sniping that medic. That's going to allow this push to be substantially weaker. Going to allow Soulkey to clean it up, maybe with just pure mutilating if it gets a little bit too low, trying to get up this ramp. Mule is doing a fantastic job of screening for this lurker on the ramp, making sure that it has time to actually get in position and morph. And Flash is actually just going to go for a very fast third behind this. He feels like he's put enough pressure out on the map. Now with this second group of Marine Medic, he's a little bit more confident, but he's got to be careful still, because if Soulkey does make a round of lings, he can definitely kill off this group of Marine Medic over here in the center of the map. And it looks like he's actually getting ready to intercept this army before Flash can combine them. So this is very nicely done by Soulkey so far. He's going to also scout out this Vulture as well. These Lings actually going for a counterattack into this third, going to try to delay it, but they don't kill off the SCV. So that third base is going to continue building up. Soulkey is going to try to come over here and harass, but Flash has just been really good about getting his units in position. He does kill off the SCV, so that's a pretty big deal for Soulkey. Soulkey now in a commanding lead. Going to be able to get that third base up. He's got filers on the way. He's going to be going into the fourth base pretty soon as well. And meanwhile, these Mulas continue to do damage far later than they really should be in the game, just because Flash hasn't been able to get those science vessels up early on. So the first two science vessels are out for Flash, though. Finally, he's going to be able to push back the Mutilis with the Irradiates. But we'll have to see what else comes out of those starports, because if we have two dropships come out of those starports immediately afterwards, we can definitely see some insane aggression coming out from Flash. Meanwhile, this push coming out across the map, first two Irradiates go down. The splits aren't beautiful for Soulkey. Actually, they're horrible right now. That was pretty bad, running all of his units back into that irradiated Mutilis. But that is two Irradiates that were not used on lurkers, so this fourth base is pretty safe for right now. And once he gets a defiler down here, it's going to be 100% safe. So this is very nice for Soulkey overall. He's just going to patrol around with his Mutilis now. Mutilis really don't serve much of a purpose. Wow, how did he snipe that? That's insane. He actually sniped that science vessel underneath, or sorry, right over a whole bunch of right over a bunch of Marine Medic. So this has been very good so far, and here's these Mutilis doing a good job of preventing the mass expansions by the Terran player. This is usually the point in the game where Terran really likes to just mass expand, just go crazy with the expansions. They have a lot of excess money left over as they stop producing bio, as they transition into mech. So it makes a lot of sense to just go ahead and take a bunch of free expansions with the map control you have. However, Soulkey doing a pretty fantastic job of denying this and at least forcing these science vessels to continually respond to what he's trying to do. Flash does have map control back in his favor, but with this fourth base up, Soulkey is in a pretty decent spot to move forward into the rest of this game. He's going to try to drone up and get a decent number of, or decent amount of gas going to the next portion of the game, but it's going to take quite a while for him to actually get those Ultralists up, get that big beefy army that he really wants going into the late game. Flash is transitioning into this mech, so he's going to have a very strong mech army pretty soon. However, if the Ultras and drops especially get out very soon, it's going to be very hard for Flash to actually defend this. Soulkey is actually just going to play very defensively right now. This is normally the point in the game where you just mass lings and filers while you build up your gas. But in this particular case, it looks like Soulkey is actually deciding to play this a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more laid back. He's going to add on a couple more sunkens, move out a little bit forward across the map. Make sure that his Scourge count is also really high so that he can deal with any drops, so that he can deal with science vessel pressure that comes his way as well. So I think this is a very smart play from Soulkey, just taking it relaxed, not going too crazy. Fourth base is starting to get saturated pretty nicely. Ultra is then going down right now, so I'm going to have Ultras up pretty soon. That's really your money unit versus this late game Terran. He's also going to be taking his fifth base over here at the 3 o'clock base, so that's nice for him. He's going to have a strong, thriving economy. However, I worry that he isn't going to be able to hit this timing early enough. That Ultra's cavern was a little bit late compared to the timing of his fourth base, so he really is going to be relying heavily on matching the Terran in cost efficiency. He's got his drops up. He's going to try to go for some drops first. And I like this play. If you are going to get the later Ultra's cavern, go ahead and go for the drop play so you can go ahead and start getting some damage done. But you have to be a little bit careful about how you do this. Make sure you're not just running these Overlords straight through the line of vision of the Terran player. And that's what he's doing by clearing out these buildings with the Mutalisk while sending his Overlords to the top of the map. It's really, really nice. He's also buffering this with a whole bunch of Scourge to prevent free radiates from going down onto these Overlords. So very nicely done. Going to be able to get this drop all the way into the main, and there's really nothing to stop it right now. He's going to be able to potentially kill off a couple of these science vessels. Only manages to get one, which is a little bit unfortunate, but going to be able to get right on top of all of these supply depots, which is going to allow him to go ahead and start cleaning things up. But the nice eraser trick coming out from Flash going to allow him to clean up these Lings that were underneath that swarm. Otherwise, it's pretty much impossible to clean them up because your units just don't do any damage underneath swarm. Now Flash is doing a really good job of actually securing that bottom left-hand base. That drop really didn't do as much as it could have, especially since the pressure on Flash was only in one position. He managed to clean that up without a problem. This is a little bit catastrophic for Soulkey, who had such a very strong early lead. Now he's desperately just trying to get back into the game while he's securing his late game transition, but it's a little bit difficult right now. These units are actually going to be able to come in here and start getting a little bit of damage. Might be able to run past the mineral line and prevent the space from mining for a little while. So very nicely done by Soulkey, finding at least one opening. He's also got that one swarm with the lurker just to stop anything from actually coming over there. This is 1 foot in the door for Soulkey. This allows him to basically go ahead and follow up on any attacks that he would like to in that area. But Flash is doing such a great job of already securing all his businesses. He's got a ton of turrets up there in his main already, so no more follow-up drops into the main are really going to work unless Soulkey finds a particular window to actually get through. Meanwhile, very beautiful run by with these vultures, but not going to be enough to actually stop Soulkey. He's got the swarm in place, and look at this bank for Soulkey. It's starting to grow to actually a pretty absurd level, and we can definitely see that he's probably going to be going into the heavy Ultras play coming up pretty soon. When you have 25k banked, you're in pretty good shape. So meanwhile, he is continuing to drop wherever he can. He's prevented mining from this natural over here in the bottom left-hand corner, which has been nice. He's actually just going to drop over here by this 9 o'clock base just to kind of cause Flash some problems. Does manage to pick off a tank with Pureling, so that is a small win for him. However, he's got to start trading more cost efficiently. We want to keep an eye on that money from Soulkey because that's really going to determine what direction the rest of this game goes in. The constant counterattacks with small groups of Lings have been very, very strong for Soulkey though right now. He's managed to grab back most of the middle map control. He's going to try to continue holding this area hostage, prevent it from ever actually mining. However, I think finally Flash has just enough to actually clean this up. He's going to be fine now. That base is going to get back to mining soon. However, what is Soulkey doing? Where is his money? It's all gone. We definitely have some Ultras incoming. This is the big boom coming out from Soulkey. Once he pushes out with these 12 plus Ultralists, it is going to be insane. It's going to be so crazy. We'll have to see if he pushes right down the middle, if he goes for a big drop play. I'd like to see a combination of both because that's always very, very strong. So here, lots of units loading up into these overlords. Meanwhile, Flash continuing to mine up, continuing to build this siege tank line across the map. I'm not sure if he's prepared for the ultras that are coming this way. This is so many ultras. It's actually insane. And with a drop also coming out across the map, this looks like a big bust coming out from Soulkey. Is Soulkey actually going to be able to make this work, though? There's a couple Goliaths out, which are going to be able to slow down this push significantly, but is that enough? Units raining down from above on top of all of Flash's units. These ultras getting right on top of the tanks, going to be able to kill them off immediately, and even more units running out across the map. Another Defiler as well, going to be able to allow this push to continue moving forward. This is beautiful play by Soulkey, but there might just be a little bit too much stuff here. The ultras are starting to slowly dwindle away, and even though Flash doesn't have that big vessel class, he still has done a really good job of transitioning into this mech army, having a very strong tank count as well. However, this is a foot in the door for Soulkey. He's going to allow him to continue pushing out right over here. Flash actually pushing out past this storm, feeling really confident that he can push down any potential attacks that come in, maybe expecting an attack down in the bottom lower left-hand quadrant. Not going to happen, though. Soulkey is actually just targeting this 9 o'clock base, trying to get in there. Flash doing a really good job of microing his tanks back, not taking too much damage, but there are some ultras, there are lings into this 9 o'clock base now as well. There's also a Defiler, which is going to make this almost impossible to actually clean up, and this might just be the end of the space for Flash. Flash is going to have to lift it and evacuate those OCVs. Not being able to save the space, that's a big point in this game. That is a huge crutch in, not crutch, but crux of this late game TVZ, having that middle base. Now it allows the Zerg to kind of split the Terran army in half and decide either to kill off the main base or that lower left-hand base, depending on the situation. But Soulkey is just continuing to stream units out across the map, and Flash cannot handle it. The bank for Soulkey is still insane, despite the fact that he's constantly making these ultras, these lings, and high gas units. Going to be able to kill off a lot of these science vessels with Scourge as well. And this is just looking beautiful right now for Soulkey. Flash is holding on, though. If Flash can hold on for another 5 minutes and re-secure that third base, maybe he can survive, but right now it's looking a little bit bleak for him. He hasn't been able to do any damage throughout the entire game, and Soulkey's been relentless with this pressure. So as long as Soulkey continues to expand like he's doing up at that 12 o'clock position, he's going to be in good shape. But actually, the transition to Queens for Soulkey. So Soulkey is prepared to go into the late game, and honestly, with such a strong early game lead, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. He's done a really good job of getting into the late game very cost efficiently. We'll be able to see if he can go ahead and continue that cost efficiency now with this third base up here. Sorry, this sixth base up here in the 12 o'clock position, which will allow him to just kind of go ahead and fortify that area and buy enough time to gather resources, split the map properly, and just trade cost efficiently with those queens. We'll see if he also takes that 6 o'clock position. It looks like he is already taking that as well. So going to be in a fantastic spot to go into the rest of the game. Flash doing a really good job of microing back with these tanks so far, but I'm not sure that it's going to be enough. He's got to be careful about losing any more tanks at this point in the game. Losing tanks to lings is absolutely terrible. He's going to completely decimate what's left of his army. And great mind drag right on top of that tank. Going to be able to kill it off. This is beautiful for Soulkey right now, continuing to make the ultras, continuing to build up his economy while he waits on those queens to gather energy. And this one Defiler out in the center of the map is actually really pivotal. The one Defiler and Lurker really prevents Flash from going anywhere on the top side of the map. And instead, Flash is actually just going to counter down here in the bottom right-hand base. He's got his decent mech upgrades down, so he's going to be in pretty good shape to actually start pushing this down. However, the multi-faceted attack coming out from Soulkey, going to be able to get on top of all these units. The mind drags are beautiful, and this is a push that has completely been cleaned up by Soulkey. He's been able to completely annihilate this push with just a small amount of units. There are still a couple more tanks rallied across the map, though, for Flash. He might be able to continue pushing in here. However, the trades have been really good for Soulkey, and with more queens coming in and these beautiful swarms going to... Oh my god, the swarms are gorgeous right now. Going to be able to kill off a lot of these tanks from Flash. once the queens finally have enough energy for spawn broodlings, they're going to start getting into the fight as well, and these tanks are going to start melting. Flash has not been trading cost efficiently at all with this mech army. As a result, he's going to get battered and beaten when we get into the late game. A couple of Mutalisks being made over here just to be a little bit annoying harass. It's going to force Flash to send a couple of Goliaths over there to actually deal with it. Since the vessel count's not high, there's nothing he can really do it. And here are the queens coming in. Snipe off a lot of these tanks, and that is going to be the end of Flash's army down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Cleaned up very cost efficiently. There's the GG. Beautiful play by Soulkey. Beautiful transitions. And you can tell Flash is upset.